Call the town council meeting of July 2nd, 2024 to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Peterson. Here. Councilmember Pete. Councilmember Fields.
Here.
Councilmember Brown. Chair Pro Tem Miles. Present. Vice Mayor Nickerson. Here. Mayor Wood.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have a moment of silent prayer and reflection, and then followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Amen. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Please be seated. All right, next on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I have an amendment to the agenda I'd like to put on this list.
Okay.
I would like to add item, I guess, right after the consent agenda, if I could add, no, I'm sorry. Right under action item, so the item 10B to continue the work session on the charter changes.
All right. Any other additions, changes to the agenda?
Mayor Wood, I do have an action item as well, where there's going to be a resolution authorizing the town manager to sign a declaration of intent on behalf of the town of Dumfries to participate with Prince William County in the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development funding programs. If I can ask that y'all consider moving that to B and then the work session to C, it's just consideration, ma'am, please.
You say just consideration or adoption?
It's going to be adoption, but I wanted to see if y'all are amenable to moving this ahead of the work session if y'all see fit.
Yes.
So you wanted at B?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then C would be charter discussion?
Yeah.
All right. Any other changes, amendments to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, I welcome a motion to adopt the agenda with the additions.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilmember Peterson.
Aye.
Councilmember Fields.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
Motion's passed.
Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the June 18th meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the minutes from June 18th.
Okay, it's been moved
Second.
and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilmember Peterson.
Yes.
Councilmember Fields.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
That motion passed.
All right, next on our agenda is our citizen comment period. Are there any citizens wishing to make comment?
No comments. Signed up.
All right. Next on our agenda is the mayor and council comments. All right. Councilwoman Peterson.
I just want to thank everyone that came out to the first annual Pride event. I thank you and appreciate it and see you next year.
All right. Chair Pro Tem, you got it?
Nothing to say.
All right, Councilman Fields.
Negative.
All right, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. So prior to our meeting tonight, we had a work session to go over the charter proposed changes. And the purpose of that, because it's necessary for us to have periodic reviews of the charter because they are essential to reflect our community's evolving needs and values. And this effort that we do for that is to ensure that our governance remains effective, transparent, and inclusive for our residents. And so I just want to thank the council members for taking the extra time to be here a little earlier, and in this case, staying a little later, so that we can finish that work. And also thank the staff for putting in the time with us to go ahead and do that. I yield, sir. Thank you.
All right. No prepared comments. Just look forward to everybody having a safe summer. Make sure you all plan accordingly. Stay safe. Want to thank the staff for quickly putting together our comfort stations, AKA cooling stations for the public to take take advantage of Monday through Saturday, right? Monday through Saturday, all the way up until 9 o'clock at night. It's a little late. I was like, so that's pretty cool. And people have already been taking advantage of that in this record heat. And so thank the staff for putting that together for the community. Thank everybody who continue to participate in everything that we have going on. We had some great successful events in the month of June. Continue to stay connected to us, and that's it for me today. Let's move on to reports and presentations. Post events report. Is that for the Director of Civic Engagement?
Council members,
Here we go.
town manager, and town staff. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. So I appreciate the opportunity to be before you to provide a post-events update. These events will include the Autism Appreciation Day event, our State of the Town address, our expungement clinic, our Juneteenth celebration, and our Pride brunch. And so our Autism Appreciation, our Juneteenth event, and our Pride brunch were all first annual events hosted by the town. So we are very proud of that, and we look forward to those events next year. Before I begin the update portion of the presentation, I'd like to take a quick glimpse behind the scenes into the event preparation logistics portion of our special events planning. I always appreciate when Vice Mayor thanks the staff, and I think she says the magic behind the curtain. We appreciate that so much because there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that people may not see. Sometimes there's things that go on in front of you, operations-wise, that you're seeing, but you don't know what's happening. But it's all a part of making sure that the event is a success. And just want to thank those individuals who take the time to help behind the scenes, because that makes what you see the successful event that it is. I'm not going to read through those, but if there's anything that you want me to elaborate on at the end in line with preparation and logistics, just let me know. But once again, I want to thank all of our town staff and partners for all the behind the scenes work that goes on. So I'd like to start the update portion of the update with our Autism Appreciation event. Autism Appreciation highlights autism support, appreciation, and family fun. The original date for the event was May 25th, but we transitioned that because of the threat of inclement weather to June the 1st. The event time was from 11 to 1. It was held at Gershon Park. We had fun attractions for the kids, a DJ, food, which included pizza that was donated by Pizza Hut. It was an absolutely beautiful day, fun-filled day, and we had 164 people come out to enjoy the event, most of which were kids. And so that was an awesome event, and we're looking forward to that next year. Our next event is the State of the Town address, which was held on June 6th at 7 p.m. right here in our municipal building. The theme for the event was the Year of Youth and Civic Engagement. We had several youth groups participate in the program. They did an outstanding job. Not only did they do an outstanding job, they brought their parents and community support with them. And so we had a fantastic total attendance of 179 people at the State of the Town. We had people in the foyer, standing up, sitting down. They were all over the place. It was almost standing room only. So we were very proud of that event and the support that we garnished from that event. Next is our expungement clinic, and that was held on Saturday, June 8th from 9 to 2 at the Rescue Squad building. So this program is a vision of our Vice Mayor and Chair Pro Tem, so we appreciate them allowing us to be a part of that vision. The event provides the opportunity for citizens to work with town staff, Commonwealth's attorney, and other resources to manage their criminal records. My department provides logistical support along with the Public Works Department for the event. That logistical support is lived out through facility cleaning, completing the room setup for the event, providing refreshments and decorations, and we had 21 registered for that event.
I apologize. I had checked the numbers shortly before the meeting, and it actually was 34 people registered for the event.
So correction, 34 registered. Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Town Manager. So our Juneteenth celebration was on Wednesday, the 19th, from 3 to 8:30. It included a fireworks show that started at 9. That was a fantastic fireworks show. The event was very well attended. We had over 1,800 people attend the event, and those 1,800 people enjoyed a host of activities that were offered for all ages, to include live entertainment. So we had a great time, and you see the picture collage of just some of the fun activities that were part of that event. And our Pride Brunch was held on Sunday, the 30th, from 10 to 1. We had 57 people in attendance, and I consider that a great success. The expression of celebration of Pride Month, diversity and inclusion will continue to promote a spirit of unity in the town of Dumfries. We were amazed by our 2 guest speakers, which included Dave Dooley with Equality Prince William and community figure and entrepreneur Sharnice Day, AKA Shasha the Mouthpiece. So I want to thank Councilwoman Peterson for the vision of the town hosting this terrific event and opportunity, and we look forward to it growing next year. So anytime that you host this number of events in this short span of time, you learn a lot of lessons. And so my department plans to implement those lessons learned for future events. This includes ensuring that we advertise our events when applicable as open to the public so we can increase participation. Sometimes community members may think that certain events are for certain crowds or for certain groups. And when we can, we want to make sure that we remove that thought so that we can make sure that attendance is increased. We also realize that with large crowds and with a lot of vendors, that parking can become an issue. And so working with the chief and with Public Works to address some of those issues so that we can effectively manage parking plans and enhance the experience for our attendees. That's really important. We're getting an idea of how many people we can expect at these events. Some of these are first-time events, and so we don't know what to expect. And so as we get an idea of how many people we can expect, we can better control resource management and expenditures. And we're always evaluating other aspects of events. That includes event times. A lot of times you want to make sure the event falls in a place where you're going to get maximized attendance, vendor selection, the right vendors for the right event, event setup for the best flow of foot traffic, and implementing new strategies and creating new strategies such as the focal point for entry of events. And so what we're trying to do is create more of a focal entry point that allows us to take better attendance, make sure that we can greet customers, let them know about the events that we have going on in the future, but it also provides more defined data and metrics so that we can evaluate our events in the future. And so we still leave multiple points of exit for safety, but having folks come through that one focal point area helps tremendously. So that concludes my presentation. I always like to take a moment to demonstrate my thanks and appreciation as these efforts are truly team efforts. And so my team and I greatly value the support of town council, town manager, and our town staff, the partnerships and collaboration that we create because we're able to do all these things together. Thank you.
Thank you for your thorough presentation, sir. Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Everybody hit the last.
Mr. Vines, I just want to thank you for all the work that you've been putting into making these events a success in just a short time. I don't even think you've been here 30 days yet.
47, I think.
Wells County. No, but we
I'm
actually,
counting because I'm having a great time, so don't get.
if that's your story, you sticking to it.
That's the story, sticking to it.
No, but I definitely appreciate the hard work and effort that you're putting into these events. You can see the quality has gone up. Our marketing has improved tremendously. So just want to thank you. You know, you take time out of your weekends and your evenings to make sure our citizens get the events that they deserve. So appreciate you.
Thank you.
Councilman Phillips.
I've been involved with this town for 18 years, thereabout. And I have never seen that park outside that packed with that many people from all around. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm so proud. Thank you. So proud.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. So ditto the comments of my colleagues. I also wanted to say that there was a time when a citizen made a comment about the fact that we have events and that those events attract people from neighboring communities and how important it is that, you know, we focus on our community. But with the work that you and your staff are doing and how you're helping to bring our visions to life, such as the autism event or the expungement clinic, I think it's really important that we recognize that we are such a small community that it is important that we welcome our neighboring communities, because even though we have our own small community, it's our neighboring communities that feed into us and we feed into them and vice versa. So we can't stay encapsulated within our own boundaries. We have to make sure that we're reaching out and pouring out and that they're pouring back into us. And when we have events like this and we allow the other communities to come in, and when we see the amount of people we had here for Juneteenth, that is amazing. And it helps to bring more people to the community. And granted, it's our tax dollars that are feeding out into the communities around us, but it's an investment, because when things happen here, it spreads out. And so it's an investment into the communities around us. So you guys are the magic behind the curtain, and you guys make us look good. So thank you. We appreciate you and for giving up your weekends. So it's definitely noticed and appreciated.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Peterson.
Same thing. I want to say thank you for my short notice, seeing my vision in the Pride Brunch and making it happen as quick as you did.
Yes.
And it was a success. Thank you.
You're welcome. July 6th, Saturday, fireworks, 8 to 10. Please make sure you come out, spread the word.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is our consent agenda.
Mayor, I motion we approve the consent agenda.
It's been motion
A second?
and second. Any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, call for the questions.
Councilmember Peterson,
Aye.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles. Aye. Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Mayor Wood,
Yes.
motion's passed.
All right, first item for, I think that's been advertised for public hearing is consideration of the lease for the town manager to execute between Brown Uvena and the town of Dumfries Suite 340. Okay, Mr. Nichols.
Evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Per Virginia Code 15.2-18, we have a resolution to authorize the town manager to enter into a lease agreement of the town-owned office space located at 17739 Main Street, Suite 340. The lease term is 7 years with the option of the 3-year at the end.
So 10 total. Okay. All right. Council, any questions on the staff report? Okay, seeing no questions at this time, I will open it up for a public hearing. Okay, is there anyone signed up to speak on this lease?
No one signed up to speak.
Okay. All right, seeing none, I will now close the public hearing. Public hearing is now closed. All right. For the requested action, Mr. Nichols.
The approval for the town manager's signature.
All right. Madam Chair.
I move we give the town manager the authority to execute the rental lease agreement for that.
A second?
All right, it's been motion second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilmember Peterson,
Aye.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles. Aye. Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Mayor Wood,
Yes.
motion's passed.
Yes. Councilman Fields.
Point of privilege, please, Mr. Mayor. Only if appropriate to do so now, while we have Mr. Nicholson up, being if you've gotten a lot of feedback about the island that we were just talking about on Route 1, is it okay if he talks about that now? Or we want to put that off to another time?
I think the town manager is trying to get all the details and the information on it, and then she's gonna bring it back to us.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Okay. All right, next on our agenda is a resolution for the town manager to sign the declaration of intent on behalf of the town of Dumfries to participate in the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development funding programs with Prince William County. Mr. Tabor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Chair Pro Tem, and members of council. This is a request to authorize the town manager to sign the declaration of intent on behalf of the town of Dumfries to participate with Prince William County in U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, funding programs. Since 1992, when Prince William County became a HUD urban county entitlement jurisdiction, the town of Dumfries has participated as part of the county's program. As a participant with Prince William County, the town of Dumfries does not receive direct grant funding from HUD programs and remains ineligible to compete for funds under the HUD-administered small cities or state CDBG program. However, participation with the county does not preclude the town from applying for state, home, or ESG funds allocated by the Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development. As a participant with the county Community Development Block Grant Program, home or home investment partnership program funds, and Emergency Solutions Grant or ESG funds are available to those who currently live or wish to purchase their home in the Dumfries area. Currently, CDBG funds are used to administer rehabilitation of owner-occupied properties under the Neighborhood Housing Rehabilitation Program, and home funds are used to provide down payment and closing costs assistance under the first-time homebuyer program to eligible households. During fiscal year 2023-24, $481,070 were distributed through the first-time homebuyer program in the Dumfries area, and $176,165 were distributed through the NHRP or Neighborhood Rehabilitation Program in the Dumfries area. The participation with the county would be for a 3-year period from fiscal year 2026 to 2028.
Okay, council, any questions? And I know in the past, actually, Ginn Memorial Park was built with Community Development Block Grant Fund. So we purchased that property and was able to build that. That was 10, 12 years ago, we opened that park. So this is a good program. All right. Any questions? None, seeing none? Madam Vice Mayor?
So the letter of intent that they are asking for here, it says your letter of intent will assist HUD in renewal process. Have we already provided a letter of intent?
So this is actually part of a renewal process for the next 3 years, beginning for FY 26. So what they did was reach out to us so we could execute this, so we can continue the programs on behalf of the town.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, I move that we adopt the resolution to allow the town manager to sign this declaration of intent.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilmember Peterson.
Aye.
Councilmember Fields.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay. Next on our agenda is a continuation of a work session with the charter discussion. Madam Attorney, the floor is yours to continue the conversation.
Quite well.
Perfect.
You ready, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, so when we left off the work session, we were at section 404, the section dealing with the town clerk. The proposed language is intended to clarify the lines of the appointment and management. There are two, if you look very closely, there are actually two suggested provisions to serve as 404. The first brings the town clerk in as an appointment by the council to be managed and supervised by the council. And if you look at the second provision, it offers the alternative of having the clerk be the appointment of the town manager and directed and supervised by the town manager. I'm happy to read through that, but I think you all have had a chance to read through it now, and I'm available for any questions and aid in the discussion.
So, Vice Mayor.
I was just gonna say, can you give me a second to get to it?
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Ask a question. What have you seen, best practices, I guess, in your experience with this? Because I see you got it written both ways.
Yes, sir.
You got it written where it becomes a third staff position for the council, or it just gets removed from the council altogether and the appointment and the hiring and everything is of the town manager.
Right, so the town clerk position right now is handled primarily through the town code. And because state law sort of governs the position in part, because we hadn't addressed the appointment in our charter, the state code provision addressed that for us, which means it's an appointment by the council. But having said that, when the conversation was initially started within the council and before I got here, you had the appointment by the council, but there was a determination that the management and the supervision of that position would go to the manager. And that has created in some limited ways some issues that have bubbled up. Generally, in terms of best practices, the appointing authority is usually the supervising and the directing authority. And so having split that between the two major powers of the town, I think the way it currently is operating is a little bit confusing, primarily for the person who's in the position. But it doesn't follow sort of that track. It's either the appointment of one, the council, or the administrator. And the intention of the proposed language, whether it's the appointment by the council or the appointment of the manager, is to sort of bring the entire picture in conformance with what's usually done. And that is, again, the appointing authority maintains control over that position throughout. And so there's the alternative to what we currently have. If we take no action, what we will revert back to is what we have currently in the town code, which is council appoints the position and it's managed by the town manager.
All right, so the other thing I think that's missing here then is if we got this in the town charter, a description, right, of like we have of the attorney legislative, we had all the town manager. Like, what is it to, because if we're asking or we're looking at or potentially deciding if we want a third appointed position or not, what is the functions of it, right? And so I know probably in some other localities, there is a liaison that works for the council, I've seen in some places, versus the clerk I was looking at.
Right. So if you want, so this provision right now deals specifically with the town clerk. But the town charter position is the place where if there was a desire to add administrative staff for the benefit or controlled by the council, this is the place and the time to do it. It would not sort of spring from the general powers of the town or the town council, because based on the current structure of our charter as well as state law, the town
Excuse me, let me just interrupt. I'm just asking what, for the sake of this definition for the
Yeah.
clerk, like what do you define the duties of a clerk?
Well, that's in there.
So, yeah, okay.
That's in there, and a large part of the duties of the clerk are controlled by state law. So some of this borrows from state law, but what you have here is this: the town clerk shall be the clerk of the council, keep the journals of the proceedings, file the original draft of ordinances, maintain and index the ordinances. Those are the basic requirements, and that is why it's been assigned to the governing body relative to state law.
Upon the advice and consent of the council. Okay.
And then there's, again, a reference to and other such powers and duties as may be described by general law.
Okay. Thank you. That was my.
I'm
question.
sorry, I thought you were talking about another.
But I was just, no, I've seen it written different ways and different, but I've seen also a person, and I'm just trying to figure out, as we look at, I've seen a person work for the council where the council has somebody that maybe handles their travel, administration type stuff like that. And so that's why, I didn't see that written in here for the clerk. So I was like, well, who works with the council based on this?
See, the clerk is actually the only mandated position that a governing body has to appoint. I mean, you don't have to appoint an attorney, you don't have to appoint a manager, but by law, you have to appoint a town clerk. So a lot of those responsibilities are imposed by general law. So if you want someone to perform those additional things, again, this would be the place to do that. Or alternatively, to create another position that would be dedicated solely to those other duties that you're thinking about.
It's quick. I didn't see who was first, vice mayor. I don't know.
So,
Vice mayor, then I come up.
so the council has had numerous discussions about this before. And the premise of the discussion has always been about the fact that there was the confusion over the clerk's position reporting to being appointed by the council, but reporting to the town manager and under the supervision of the town manager, because being council members, the requirement is simply residing within the jurisdiction in order to be eligible for council seats, and therefore not having the experience, education requirements, et cetera, to manage personnel. And so when you have a clerk position in which that person is reporting to 7 members who have no experience to manage a person, you run into issues like we've had here recently, or within the past several years and several incidences where there has been mismanagement of personnel. And so I think that that is one of the reasons. Matter of fact, I'm pretty certain that that's one of the reasons why there's been concern over whether or not the council should be in the position to manage that position. But the conflict has been, well, we manage that position because we appoint that position. But what I'm hearing you say is that because the code or somewhere it's saying that that's the position that by law we appoint that position. And so are you saying that we have to manage that position because we appoint it? Because if we have the option to not manage that position, then I believe that is where we made a decision one time before. And I thought we had that conversation with you and we made it clear that it was the decision of the body that we wanted to move forward with not managing that position.
Right.
So if that's what we talked about one time before, what I'm confused about now is why there are 2 different sets of languages here providing an option, when I thought we talked about it and we made it clear that we wanted it to be that the clerk was reporting to the town manager so that we weren't doing this back and forth anymore.
Yeah, and I appreciate that question. The second provision actually flows out of one of those previous discussions. I did not get a clear consensus that there was a choice one way or the other. I certainly understood some of the sentiments that has been expressed. I think not only was the additional language proposed because there had been, there is a best practice of keeping the supervision with the appointment authority, but relative to the position as it has been filled here, the split control has created issues. And so that without going into details on that, some of the language is not simply for the benefit of council, but for the person serving in the position. So council, as you've already indicated, and I indicated earlier, the proposed language isn't grounded in something that's required by law to bring you in compliance. It's based on experience, some of that experience here. Ultimately, it's your decision, and we don't have to change this section at all. We can keep it controlled by the town code, which is how it is right now, or we can incorporate the language of the town code in the town charter.
So, and that's where I'm kind of confused, because I thought that what we asked was for the charter to be updated so that it reflects our desire, which the desire was to make it so that there was no more confusion or conflict, and that the charter made it so that it was clear that the clerk was going to report to the town manager and that there was no more confusion or conflict. I thought that's what we requested.
So in my view, I can incorporate the exact language of the town code, but it is my opinion that the setup is in itself a source of confusion. So we either have to just agree to bring all of that language in, or you just tell me based on council's opinion, we don't think that's a conflict, and I just adopt that.
No, so we recognized that there was a conflict.
Right.
The request was to rectify the conflict so that the clerk is reporting to the manager, and whatever needs to be rectified so that it's no longer a conflict.
Yeah.
So that there is no longer any conflicts between this or that.
Yeah.
And that the clerk is reporting to the town manager. So whatever needs to be rectified.
I honestly, I don't see how that's going to happen with the split control. So I don't know what to offer you. These are my efforts to help you achieve less conflict. But as long as there's the dual, I don't think it will be free of that conflict. That's all I'm trying to say. So this is my best effort by giving you, okay, if you don't want to manage it, just give the appointment authority to the town manager.
But then that's what I'm asking you for.
Yeah.
So that's my
that
question.
here. Yeah, that's
So is
here.
that what the or is?
Yes, the second
Right.
provision goes to
Okay, so
the
that's
town
what
manager.
So then that was that was the request. So then my question to you is, then what is that preceding paragraph for? What is the purpose of that preceding paragraph? If the request was to give us what we needed in order to clear up the conflict, and you said in order to do that, we needed to
Yeah, that was a separate conversation, I think just between a few of you, not the entire body, but I left it, the original proposed language, I added that because it flowed out of that conversation. But I'm looking for consensus in all of this. That's why we're doing this in this setting. And while some members are very clear in their direction, I'm trying to make sure at least 4 people are equally clear with that same message. So that's why this was there. And again, all the proposed language can be rejected. At the end of the day, 4 people can just say, you know what, leave it as it is. Don't change anything about it. So that's my effort to eliminate the confusion.
Thank you. So right now, what I'm going to actually propose is that we strike the first paragraph and just go with the second. I will say that I was on the fence with this. And the reason I was on the fence is that in my mind, I was saying, okay, there has to be some reason that these offices have been separated. So I went down my normal rabbit hole and it's actually right. So your point, this is the only position that has to be appointed. The reason being, from what I found after looking into it, is it's because some localities don't have a town manager or a city manager. And so that clerk position was really put in place so that you can have some administrative support at town hall because elected officials are part-time. So I think now, and under our makeup, we do have a town manager and we do have use of the clerk, like not use of the clerk, but we are able to utilize the clerk for our support. So I don't see any reason why under the form of government that we have, that we would need to have that separation. So I'm just gonna, actually ask if there's consensus amongst all of us, if we could strike that first one and just go with the second.
Any, I'm gonna just,
So I guess
Through it.
my concern goes back then to the outside of the town manager who works with the council then once we change everything altogether. Cause now we don't have like a liaison or like maybe an admin person, a town manager, maybe you can help.
So-
I'm trying
Sure.
to grasp that.
Sure, based on this form of government, the council has two people that can assist them with administrative functions. You have your town clerk as well as the deputy town clerk. Everything that y'all need so that I'm aware of what they working on, I'm copied on. They are able to do your travel. They are able to do all administrative tasks that the council need. Those are positions that's dedicated to the council. The only thing the council doesn't do is supervise them.
Okay. If that's in the description of the second, then I can have consensus with that. Yeah. That's fine. Councilwoman Peterson.
Same consent.
Okay. Councilman Fields. No. Okay. Turn your mic on. So, which the first paragraph or the second one? Do you want to appoint or do you want to give the appointment over to the town manager?
Second one reads that town manager would do so, correct?
Right. And the first one is the council appointed. Okay. All right. We can move on to the next
okay.
item. You have a consensus.
So the section 5.01, creation of departments, there's no proposed change other than a little wordsmithing. At 502, there is departments of the town. There are no proposed amendments. However, the town manager wants the council to consider including the Department of Parks and Civic Engagement as being listed in the charter. And I said, I bring that to your attention.
In which section what?
That's 502, sir.
Oh, you want to put, okay. Yeah. I think we can get a consensus on that. Yeah, there's a nod. Okay.
Okay, I see here. Now I'll make sure I have the correct name of the department before we finalize that. All right, we go on to section 6.01 fiscal year, no proposed changes. Section 6.02 submission of the budget and budget message, no proposed amendments. 6.03 the budget message, no proposed amendments. 6.04 the budget, no proposed amendments. 6.05 the council action on the budget, no proposed amendments. 6.06 amendments after adoption, the same, no proposed amendments. 6.07 lapses of appropriation, no proposed amendments. 6.08 municipal assessment, no proposed amendment. 6.09 assessment for local improvements, no proposed amendments. The same for 7.01, the powers of council to borrow money. 8.01 charter amendments, which is that they can only be done in accordance with the law, no proposed amendments. 8.02 severability, no proposed amendments. 8.03 oaths of office and official bonds, no proposed amendments. Books and records of the town, no proposed amendments. At Article 9, additional powers of the count and the council. 9.01, no additional amendments. 902, just clarifying the court, there are some additional language proposed here, clarifying the council's ability to adopt civil and criminal misdemeanors, and also setting a limit on the fines for civil misdemeanors. The other things, all actions, including ordinances, resolutions, and bylaws, that language is in conformance with general legislative practices. And I think that is the sum total of the description needed for 9.02. Is there?
So there's no, excuse me, on 902, there's no like cooling off or rescission period?
Rescission period, what do you mean?
Like because it had up there 30 days and you scratched that out. Why
Oh,
was that
yes,
in?
yes. So because we actually act in conformance of our effective date being on adoption rather than there being any kind of rescission period. And so that change was to bring our charter or our behavior in conformance with our charter. But we have been historically moving forward precipitously upon adoption.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, discussions? 9.03, power of the council to license motor vehicles, no proposed amendments. 9.04, taxes and assessments, no proposed amendments. Section 10.01, ordinances, no proposed amendments. None for 10.02 for the continuity of terms of officers, no proposed amendments. And the citation of the charter at 10.03, no proposed amendments. And that brings me to the conclusion of the proposed amendments to the town charter for 2024.
Okay, one question, Vice Mayor.
I have a question. So we have had a situation where a council member vacated their seat.
Yes, ma'am.
And what I mean by that is a council member just stopped showing up to meetings. And there was nothing that we could do about that. Is that something that would go in the charter? Like if a person just stopped showing up to their seat, because it was one of those things where it's like, if a council member decided to stop showing up, we had no recourse. They continued to collect, their little stipend. I wouldn't say salary because it's not really what it is, but they continued to collect it. And from my point of view, that was an insult to the taxpayers because you're still collecting your coins, but you're not showing up. You're not doing what you were elected to do. And granted, it was near the end of their term, but it was still a slap in the face to the taxpayers. And there was, like I said, there was nothing we could do.
Right. So as you were explaining that, I was saying, well, I don't know if that person vacated the office or simply absent. So what you can do is include some language if you want. This would be the place to do it. After so many consecutive absences is construed as vacating your seat.
Mm-hmm.
And we can work it that way, but all I heard, and this happens a lot in other places, that this person just decided to be absent. So short of having a mechanism to remove them, the law wouldn't construe that as vacating the seat. He's just not showing up for work, and they'll just leave that to the residents to deal with at the ballot box.
Yeah, because in a real job, if you a certain amount of no calls, no show, that's a volunteer termination. We just accept your termination. You stop getting paid. You don't work here anymore. But in this case, I know that it would take an act of the courts for us for a person to be removed from their seat. But if someone stops showing up, I think that we should no longer continue to give them taxpayer dollars.
Okay, so we can go back to that section dealing with vacating, vacations on the council. And we can have some language where it's established that so many consecutive absences, and you can give me that number, will constitute vacating your seat for purposes of this provision. And that way, anyone who's serving on the council will know, I can't miss 5 in a row or 3 in a row or whatever the case may be.
I mean, sometimes things happen, but this person just stopped coming, did not notify anybody. It wasn't, oh, I'm sick, I'm dying. It was just, that's it. They
Right.
just,
Right.
but I welcome the council's buy-in on that feedback, what the thoughts are on that.
So I would say, I don't know, that we need to address that in this document necessarily, because I think what happens is before with that individual, we didn't have a code of conduct anymore with teeth to it. So now I think if somebody were to behave in that manner, we could address them through the code of conduct, which includes fines, which includes sanctions, which includes things like that. So we do have a mechanism to discipline, for lack of a better word, or to hold people accountable for what's virtually job abandonment. Before, we didn't have that. We just had, how is it?
And I think we addressed in it when we wrote it up, we put the absences in there because of that particular individual when we wrote it up. So we added in it, we have something about consecutive, no calls, no shows.
Yeah, I've seen this come up though with someone who had a chronic illness but the other people were upset, like you just can't miss so many months of meetings because you're going through the recovery. So the same concern for sort of representation could be there, even if they have a good reason to be absent. Your point is well taken. You're still collecting the money, but you're not doing the work that's necessary for the position. So I just wanted to, having that clean absences might be the way to go.
No, I mean, I get it. Now that Pro Tem Miles made a good point about the fact that we do have a code of conduct in place now. So that gives us something, and it gives us the opportunity to discuss it and figure out amongst us if it's, if somebody's ill, we're not, meanies. But, in that case, we all know what the situation was in that case. It was just it was just a screw y'all, I'm done. That situation was different. That was, yeah, okay.
Okay, so if there are no other questions, we're done. I will get back to you all, some drafts with the additional language that has been proposed from the dais, this afternoon, and, we'll take it from there. Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is a closed session discussion. The town council of Dumfries desires to go into a closed session meeting pursuant to 2.2-3711 Alpha 1, Alpha 4, and Alpha 7 of the Code of Virginia to discuss and consider personnel matters, including the assignment and performance of specific public officers and appointees for the protection of the privacy of individuals and personnel matters not related to public business, and to consult with legal counsel pertaining to probable legal where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating to litigating posture of the town. Okay, it's been moved
Second.
and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilmember Peterson,
Aye.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
We are now in closed session.
Okay, we can, I don't think I need a break. We can go in immediately. convened in closed session on July 2nd pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provision of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act 2.2-3712 the Code of Virginia. It requires a certification that only public business matters heard, discussed, or considered was in conformity with Virginia law.
What's
Huh?
the motion?
Yeah, that's the motion.
Second.
It's been motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilmember Peterson.
Aye.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
We're now back in open session.
All right. Is there anything to report from closed session? I think we gotta make a motion. Not up here. Chair Pro Tem.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I move that we appoint Vice Mayor Monet Nickerson as Vice Mayor.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilmember Peterson,
Aye.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
That motion.
All right, that exhausts our agenda.
Can I take a point of privilege?
Yes.
I would like to thank my council for having continued faith in my abilities to serve. Thank you.
All right, that concludes our agenda. We
You're
adjourn.
welcome.